Hello and welcome to Attention Central Texas. I'm your host, Charles Jenkins, and in the studio with me, we have the awesome Miss Maureen Jewett. She's the Executive Director of Bring Everyone in the Zone. Hello and welcome to today's show.
Well, thank you, Charles, for having me again. I appreciate being invited back.
Yes, ma'am. Let's just start with tell us a little bit about what is Bring Everyone in the Zone.
Okay, so Bring Everyone in the Zone is a small local nonprofit. We've been in existence since August 8th of 2008.
All right.
And we've been providing services to veterans, spouses, dependents, and surviving spouses. We also help with peer support for active duty. So
okay.
Our main function is peer-to-peer support. So we have one-on-one peer mentoring. We are also mentors for the vet court, both at Fort Hood and Bell County.
All right.
We have our people go into the jails when they're allowed, and haven't been going the last few months. And then also at the Gatesville, we go to the Hughes unit and also the Mountain View Women's unit.
Wow.
So we have peer groups meeting, 2 in Coppers Cove, 2 in Killeen, and 1 just started in Nolanville, and also a couple Zoom groups.
Tell us a little bit about, I know you say the one-on-one, what's that like?
Okay, so no one really knows how a veteran feels better than another veteran.
That's good.
And so my people are trained. They volunteers that come and want to volunteer with our organization, they come to a 6-hour basic training and they have a background check.
Okay.
And so before they're allowed to interact with other people, we have the background check.
Gotcha.
Now we have some that come that don't do the background check, but they're doing like folding brochures or working in the office, something like that. Just depends. But for the people that interact with other people, they do have a background check. So they do one-on-one. So a veteran calls, they're in distress, they talk to another veteran. They don't have to explain where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So I guess what it is they don't have to explain the details, the gruesome details of what happened to them for the other veteran kind of understand. And so it's all about feelings and letting those feelings be known, because that's how healing happens. And so when you tell your story, that's when your brain kicks in and starts to have the healing process.
And I know you mentioned a little bit about in our talking off screen that you have a counselor as well. Tell us a little bit about what the counselor provides.
Sure. His name's Arthur, and he's Arthur Murphy, and he's been with us for a couple years. At first he came as a volunteer intern, and now he's paying it forward by giving us 1 day a week. He's a combat veteran, and he does counseling. I've been told he's very good at it.
All right.
And so if someone wants to come for counseling, that's the one area where we take civilians, because he will see civilians.
That's good.
And it's by appointment only, and if you need an appointment, you can call my number, and I'm sure they're running it on the screen.
Well, since you're talking about your number, just go ahead and share it with us.
Sure, my number's 254-681-9112.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a website as well?
Yes, it's http://www.bringeveryoneinthezone.org.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I know you're very well known in this community, and for good reason. You were great when you did it, but now you're in this position since 2008. Tell us a little bit about what has your experience been like being in charge of Bring Everyone in the Zone? What has it been like?
Well, it's always a challenge money-wise, you know, and the funny thing is we have money to give away, basically, to people that are needy because of the Fund for Veteran Assistance, because of local veteran service organizations that are in this area that donate to us, and because of the partnership we have with Hill Country Community Action, we have electrical assistance. We partner with the City of Killeen, and the Fund for Veteran Assistance pays part of the salary. So the part we have trouble with is management operations, you know, keeping the door open. But as far as funding for assistance, that's another part of our program, is we do financial assistance. Our application's available online. You can draw it down. And you could conceivably this morning draw the application down, get all the paperwork together, and this afternoon you could have your stuff taken care of. Yeah. So, and it is, you know, it's depends on how much you need, because we are a small nonprofit.
What, speaking of the application and that process, what are some things people have to do? I know there's paperwork involved.
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit about the paperwork, and the key is, just like you said though, if you need service right away, have everything filled out before they come to y'all. So tell us.
Yeah, we don't take half or non-complete applications, because it's just too much paperwork laying around waiting for something. So our application, as I said, was available online. You print it out, you can go to the library and print it out. If you have to, you can come to our office. The office, we cannot come inside the office, it's still closed, but we will hand the application out our back door. We're at 204 Priest Drive in the Help Center building, which is a county building. Okay, so some of the documents required: DD 214, which is the separation paperwork from the military. Okay. And it can be any kind of discharge except a dishonorable. We don't take dishonorable. Or you can have an e-benefits or a spousal if you're a surviving spouse, and if you have the letter from the VA that says you're a surviving spouse and this is what your award is, or something like that. We need the marriage license, birth certificates, if you're a surviving spouse, the death certificate. We need the utility bill if you want a utility bill paid. We need the lease if you're wanting your rent paid. If your lease, if you want your rent paid, the lease has to be current. It cannot be a month-to-month. It has to have an extension. Gotcha. I'm trying to think. My mind has just went blank.
No, you
and you have to write a statement as to what happened, what's causing you this issue. You know, we partner, I told you, with some other organizations. One of our partners is the Goodwill Job Source Program, and they help people find jobs. That's awesome. And so those kind of things, we kind of collaborate together with other organizations. Families in Crisis is one, and Center Point, Texas is another, Catholic Charities is another. I know in order to do this, you have to have a passion for veterans. Where does your passion come from? It's really a calling, because, you know, I get paid right now, but I don't always get paid, but I'm not in it for the money. Yeah. But both my parents were in the Army. My mother was in the Philippines as an Army nurse in World War II, and my dad was in France and Germany during World War II. He stayed in. My mother had total 10 years, and then she got out. And then she became an Army nurse, civil service at Fort Ord, California. It's now not a base anymore, but anyway. And then my dad continued on. He went to Korea, and then he went to Vietnam, and then he got out in like 61 or 2, I'm not sure. And then he became a school teacher. So our family is kind of like service oriented. And my husband's a retired firefighter. He was deputy chief here in Killeen, and you know, the whole family service. I have my son's a police officer. My other son's wife is a police officer, and my son that's married to her, he works at Fort Hood in civil service. Do they have an application saying, "Look, you need to be in some kind of service"? No, but you know, it's kind of interesting. And then my grandson is a teacher, and my granddaughter's going to study to be a teacher. She just got her associates last year. So anyway. Service, giving back, and it is a calling. You know, this kind of work is not easy, and sometimes I get a little grumpy, but I try not to. But I pray for it all the time, and I really hope that the people that are listening to me, they pray for the success of organizations that support people. You know, the food insecurity is really a problem, and the Food Care Center shares their emergency food with us so we can give it away. What would you? I don't mean to cut you off. That's okay. What would you say to the veteran or veterans who are sitting watching us today, contemplating whether they should do this? They know they need the services, but for some reason they're held up and come and seek them. So the RAND Corporation did a study that said people that participated in peer support got better faster, stayed better longer. And I promise you, if you don't seek help, 40 years from now, you'll still be in the same place. And you know, a lot of people will self-medicate with alcohol or drugs. And I had a brother that passed away last year that was an addict. And so whatever problem you have here when you start, however long you're drinking or doing drugs, when you're done with that, you're still got that problem there. And so if you can just talk about it, it will help you to heal.
Yes.
And if you, in healing, you know, just telling the story uses a different part of your brain.
Yeah.
And so, and it's a part of your brain, I don't know which side it is, but it's a part of your brain where creativity happens. So telling the story is part of being creative, but healing takes place there. So we have so many veterans contemplating suicide now. We cannot, I mean, it's a waste.
Yes.
Everyone is precious in God's eyes, and so talk to somebody. That's what, you know, that's what they want. Our veterans are there to help their fellow veterans.
That's good.
And we have female veterans, male veterans. We have military sexual trauma survivors that volunteer for us, that will help in any way to help you get past whatever you went through.
Well, and speaking of our veterans, do you have a need for veterans to volunteer?
Yes, we always accept volunteers. That right now, because of COVID, it's a little bit different on how we have to do it and stuff, but we have our basic training the second Friday of each month from 8 till 2. Okay. And so if someone's interested in volunteering, that's the first place they go. So basic training, and then they get their background check. And like we're going to be at Hood Howdy at Fort Hood, so we have someone having a table. We're going to be at Operation Stand Down. Okay. And so we have people manning tables and passing out information. We sometimes need people to carry our brochures around the community and leave them off and stuff like that.
Okay. Now we have about a minute and a half left. Is there anything I didn't talk about that you want to talk about, or any final thoughts you want to share with our viewers?
Well, don't be despondent and desperate. If you're to that point where you can't handle it yourself, you need to reach out. Yeah. And we have people that can help. 254-813-5834 or 254-423-0399. Cynthia Ramirez and Bill Barker. Okay. And they're veterans with experience that can help. Financial assistance, 254-423-7632, okay. Or you can always call my number. All right. I'm the only one that works at my office that's not a veteran. Okay.
Well, Miss Maureen, you've been around it all your life, though, and you know what they go through. First, I want to take this time to say thank you for your service, and thank you for what you do for our veterans. I think it is so important that what you do for the veterans in this community. And thank you for just being you.
Well, we couldn't do it without our community partners. So thank you so much. You're very kind.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you to everyone for listening.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, our viewers, for tuning into Attention Central Texas.